Level 0. Absorbed. You're 19. You're from a planet that no longer has a name. Not a metaphor. Frieza's soldiers came on what your calendar called a Tuesday, and the air smelled like burning before most people understood what was happening. Your scouter read decent on first contact. Decent is enough. You don't get a choice. You get a roll. The planet is still on a map somewhere. The designation changed to a supply depot classification, and nobody who worked there got a forwarding address. For the next decade, becoming what this empire needs is going to feel like winning. Level 1. Third-class soldier. The scouter doesn't belong to you. That's the first thing this rank teaches. It reports your number upward, continuously, to whoever in the chain bothers to check. You are a measurement. The measurement has to keep climbing, or you get reassigned, and nobody explains what reassigned means until the soldiers who found out stop being available to describe it. The scouter isn't measuring your strength. It's measuring whether you cost less to keep than to replace. Third class isn't a rank. It's the proof number that the math works in your favor, for now. 3 planets in the first year. You stop asking what's in the buildings around the 3rd mission. You learn to read signatures for danger rather than for targets, and the difference eventually stops feeling relevant. Some of the soldiers you deployed with are gone by month 8. Not killed in the field, reassigned. You stop learning names around month 4. One day you're mid-sentence and the sentence just stops. You leave it unfinished. They don't notice. By the end of the year, someone above you has started to notice the number. Level 2. First-class soldier. A commander pulls your file after the Velos campaign. 4 targets, no backup unit. Your number, the only one still climbing when the others went quiet. You find out because the missions change. Harder targets, fewer backup units, more specific objectives. Your number is interesting enough to spend differently. The commanders who ignored you before weren't threats. They were just indifferent. The commander who pulled your file now owns something. You train harder because you have to justify the investment. Competence has its own gravity. You fall into it before you notice the falling. Somewhere in the 2nd year of this, you're given a target briefing, and you realize you haven't asked why in 11 months. Not strategically, not morally, just the question dissolved. Gradually enough that you can't find the moment it left. Level 3. Ginyu Force. The invitation comes through Frieza's personal staff, not a commander. The staff. 5 members. Matching armor. A reputation that arrives before you do. Enemies have stood down based on scouter readings alone, before a single shot was fired. You know the name. You are the name now. There is a pose. At first it looks like theater. Then you understand what it actually is. Every soldier in this army belongs to the Emperor. Body, power, kill count, future, all of it property. The Empire has spent years collapsing the distance between the person and the weapon. There is no self that isn't also a function. That's not an accident. That's policy. The pose is 5 seconds. 5 seconds where you are not a function. A form specific to you. A motion nobody else performs in exactly that way. When it ends, the killing starts, and Frieza owns all of it again. But for 5 seconds, you existed as yourself, and not as an instrument. That's not arrogance. That's the only privacy you have left. You do it again before the next engagement. 5 seconds. Then the killing starts. The Ginyu Force didn't develop the poses because they're confident. They developed them because they found a way to keep a self intact inside a machine that consumes selves. Frieza allows it because the theater makes the fear travel further than the army does. He's using the poses too, but they got there first. Level 4. Captain Ginyu. The squad is yours. Lord Frieza contacts you directly. You have something most soldiers in this army never earn. A face. An arrival. When your ship breaks atmosphere, The defenders already know what it means. Not because they fought you, but because the ones who did aren't available to describe it. The reputation works even while you sleep. Then Namek. Small planet, magic artifacts. Lord Frieza wants them recovered and sent you instead of coming himself. A compliment, in its way. There are Saiyans on the surface. The race Lord Frieza eliminated. Established fact. But a child was sent off-world before the planet was cleared, and he grew up somewhere, trained in gravity that would collapse your sternum, and he is not even your final problem. Your final problem is a kid in an orange uniform who looks mildly inconvenienced. Not the cold stillness you've learned to read as dangerous. Just someone who had somewhere else to be. Guldo first, then Raccoon, Birder. Geese survives long enough to file a report, and then doesn't. You make your final play. The body swap, the technique you built across years, the move that seemed like power, and was always also philosophy. Your body was never yours inside this empire. You just made that the weapon. A frog lands in the Namekian grass. Somewhere above the clouds, the most feared unit in Frieza's service is a fact that used to be true. Level 5, Finale. You started with a scouter on your face and a number that needed to keep climbing. The number climbed. The Empire used you exactly as precisely as it said it would. And you were good enough, distinct enough, feared enough that the whole galaxy learned your name. 5 of you. Matching armor. A pose that was yours. That's what the scouter never measured, the thing you were trying to hold on to inside it. If you've ever been excellent at something inside a system that decided what excellent was allowed to mean, you already know what the 5 seconds cost. The fact that you needed them at all. If you felt the 5 seconds, like and subscribe. More worlds to climb. Somewhere below the clouds, a new set of numbers is being processed. Decent readings. Enough. A designation will change. The Empire continues.